Namo Tassa. For the start of the session. Namo Tassa Bhagavatu Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavatu Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavatu Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. All right, everyone. We are continuing with Conascence Pacha, Sahajata Pacha. I think we went after we did a part of it last time, and we're going to continue along today. All right. Conascence Pacha, Sahajata Pacha. Let me just increase. There you go. Right. The point that we stopped at last time was the point of derived conascent matter, which is 6b, isn't it? Yeah, we were discussing the process of the Mahabhutas, and with the Mahabhutas, what other matters sort of arise. Now, this is Sahajata Pacha. In Sahajata Pacha, what is of paramount importance is that it arises together, right? Damsiri mentioned or brought to light that when we talk about derived conascent matter, that it is mentioned in the book, that it is talking about Kamma and Chittaja rupas, right? And we're going to talk about why that is and then move on from there. Okay, everyone? So do we have any questions before we start?
Bhante, excuse me, please, can you enlarge the screen a little bit, please?
Yes.
Please, thank you.
That. Atida? Poddak, okay. Then?
Yeah, fine, thank you, Bhante, fine, that's lovely.
All right. Now, conascent, right. So 6b, right? 6b. 4 great essentials which support each other and derived matter. The Dhammas which arise conditioned by those conditioning factors are the 4 great essentials supported by each other, derived conascent matter. Derived conascent matter. Here the derived conascent matter, right? The conascent matter that we are talking about comes down to Chittaja and Chittaja rupas and Kammaja rupas. Kammaja rupas at the time of rebirth and Chittaja rupas during the time of life, right? We do not take Utuja and Aharaja. For what reason? The reason as to why we do not take Utuja is because it arises at the moment of presence. Remember? So then, if it arises at the moment of presence, does it fit into Sahajata? Hence, we can't take Utuja. Remember, everyone? Yeah, let me just pull out this chart. Do you see this chart here? Uttu Jarupa arises at this moment of presence. Kammaja would arise from the starting moment. Chittaja would arise from the starting moment. However, Upada moment. However, Uttuja starts from the moment of presence. Hence, Uttu Ja rupas are not taken into the Sahajata combination. Then what about Aharaja Rupas? Aharaja Rupas, now in Sahajata, it must arise together. Aharaja Rupas, we cannot exactly say when Aharaja Rupas arise. The only two that arise simultaneously together is Kammaja and Chittaja. Hence, we take Kammaja Rupa and Chittaja Rupa. Is that understood, everyone? Okay. Now, moving on to C. At rebirth in the 5 aggregate planes. So whilst taking rebirth at or within a plane where the physical attributes exist, Panchavokara Bhumi, right? The 4 mental aggregates, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, and the heart base. And the heart base, right, conditions the arising of the heart base supported by the mental aggregates, the mental aggregates supported by the heart base, right? The mental aggregates supported by the heart base. Now, in the commentaries, it is explained to say the mental part being the tree, the heart base being the shadow, right, of that tree. So when the mind arises, at that through the Patisandhi Chitta, together in that process arises or is present the physical basis for that birth, isn't it? This doesn't necessarily mean that the physicality should or has to be present at the moment the mind arises. The foundation for that physicality can be present. However, when that physicality is present and the mind arises, there we have, together with the Patisandhi Chitta, arises the Kammaja, the Uttuja at the moment of presence, and Chittaja, right? And Chittaja. Remember, everyone? Is that clear? So in that moment or during that time, at rebirth, in the 5 aggregate plane, the 4 aggregates, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, and the heart base support, right? Conditions. Heart base supported by mental aggregates. So then the heart base supported by mental aggregates supported by the heart base. It arises. This is Sahajata Pacha. Is that clear, everyone? Any questions? Because we know the heart base is a seat of mind. The heart base is a seat of mind. And based upon the seat of mind, consciousness is able to be present, right? Based on this seat of mind, consciousness is the physical seat of mind, consciousness is able to be present. So, supported by that heart base, consciousness arises, the mental aggregates arise. The mental aggregates being there supports the heart base as well. Is that clear?
Bhante,
yes.
Practically, even though it's called C, here you have 2 cases, right? One is conditioning one for mental aggregate. Conditioning is for mental aggregate, and condition one is heart base, right? And then another case is conditioning is heart base, and condition one is four aggregates.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct. So,
Yeah.
so we have to take the two parts of it. So mental aggregate, hard base, mental aggregate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hard base here, hard base supported by mental aggregates, right? So
Yeah.
hard base supported by, so then mental aggregates belongs in this section.
Yeah.
Right. And mental aggregates supported by hard base, then mental aggregates is here in this section and hard base is in this section.
Yeah.
All right. Two positions.
Yeah.
But both of them are in Sahajata.
Yeah.
Arise together. Is that clear, everyone? Right. Can we move on? Any questions? Right. So in C, one might ask, okay, what does that mean? This is talking about the connection between mind and matter at the moment of rebirth.
Rebirth. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. At the moment of rebirth. We spoke earlier, a couple of weeks before, intricately about this process, where when for the mind to arise, or for the mind to now be, if we might put it in that way, to now have a new life, a physical life, right? It will appear in a position where it links to physicality, because it is in the Panchavokara Bhumi, where there is material birth, right? A material birth. During that time, the heart base, in whatever simple form that physicality might be at that position, the heart base seems to be or could be the most core physical aspect of the being at that moment in time. So as we grow, as we continue to sort of generate over time, mature, that connection is maintained throughout life. In section C, what is discussed or what is shown is that the mind and the body of the being, right? There can be organic matter, right? There can be organic matter. But that organic matter, if I might put it in this manner, is, if I'm talking about myself, there might have been organic matter, but that organic matter was not mine, if I might put it in that way, right? Was not mine. The organic matter which became mine arose through Sahajata Pachya. When the heart base supported the mental aggregates and the mental aggregates supported the heart base. How does that happen? During the time of Patisandhi, as the different rupas arise, Kammaja Rupa, the heart base is the Kammaja Rupa. Is that clear, everyone? The heart base is a Kammaja Rupa. That Kammaja Rupa is supported by the mental aggregates, and the mental aggregates that arise support the heart base. Is that clear? Yeah? All right. Any questions? Can we move on to mutuality? Yes? Number 7, mutuality condition. Mutuality condition. So both at the time of rebirth and existence, 89 chittas, 52 chetasikas, right? Both at the time of rebirth and existence, 89 chittas and 52 chetasikas condition, support the 89 chittas and 52 chetasikas to arise. Right? Now, let us read. Shall we read about mutuality condition? Where is mutuality condition? Let us see.
Page 317, Bhante.
Thank you very much. 317, everyone. Conascence, mutuality. The mutuality condition is threefold. Consciousness and mental factors are a condition for one another. The four great essentials for one another, the heart base and the resultant mental aggregates for one another at the moment of rebirth linking, right? Mutuality condition is actually a subordinate type of conascence condition. In the general conascence condition, the conditioning state simply causes the conditioned state to arise with itself. But no reciprocity in the conditioning force is required. However, is that clear? Right? No reciprocity is spoken of in conascence. Right? In conascence. However, in the mutuality condition, each of the conditioning states is at the same time and in the same way a conditioned state in the relation to the very states that it conditions, right? To the very states that it conditions. Thus, a conditioning state in the relation of mutuality gives its force to the conditioned state and also receives the force of the conditioned state, which is a conditioning state relative to itself. Again, I felt like I went a bit too fast there. Thus, a conditioning state in the relation of mutuality gives its force to the conditioned state. The conditioning state gives its force to the conditioned state and also receives the force of the conditioned state, which is the conditioning state relative to itself. Yeah, so the conditioning state gives its force to the conditioned state, which then becomes the conditioning state, gives its force to the conditioned state. Is that clear? Yeah, if we say we'll go on, and also receives the force of the conditioned state, which is a conditioning state relative to itself. This is compared to a tripod, each leg of which assists the other two legs reciprocally in enabling the tripod to stand upright. Api poddak, sorry. If we are to sort of look at this with what we have done, just to go out of the book a bit and discuss, if we are to look at it in a manner, how does this work? පොඩ්ඩක් අපි චිත්ත නියාම පැත්තට හරි දාලා පොඩ්ඩක් අපි බැලුවොත්, right? චිත්ත නියාම, චිත්ත වීති, if we put it, apply it to චිත්ත වීති and just look at it in a manner, can we think about how does this work? Now, mutuality condition is a position, we've read it, so it supports one another, right? In Conascence condition, there was no reciprocity, but here there is reciprocity, right? How does it work? අපි දැන් මෙතන ගත්තොත් මේක, right? 89 chittas, 52 chetasikas. Any combination, right? Any combination. Now, if we are to take the akusala chitta, then akusala chitta, the first akusala chitta, right? 18, if I remember correctly, 18 chetasikas arise with the first akusala chitta, if I remember correctly, right? So then 18 chetasikas arise here, right? Okay. One, the first chitta, Are you all following me? Yes, okay. So the conditioning state is the first chitta, the first akusala chitta, somanasagata, ditthigata, sampayutta, asankarika, right? Asankarika. And the 18, it's supporting 18 chetasikas are the conditioned states, right? The conditioned state. In another way, that same scenario we can take if we are to, let us say, chanda in that first chetasika, chanda ekin gatto chetasika, if we take that chanda, if we say chanda is here, right, then we can say one chitta and 17 chetasikas are here. Do you understand? Is that clear? Right? If we are to take, for example, vitakka to conditioning state, we can say one chitta and 17 chetasikas here, except vitakka. Vitakka is a conditioning state. Do you understand? When we are talking about mutuality, right? We're talking about mutuality. Now, in a process of chitta viti, now think about the chitta viti, right? Let us take the same example of the first, right? So manasagata, ditthigata, sampayutta, asankarika chitta, with pleasure, so manasa, right? With joy or pleasure, with joy, isn't it? With joy, ditthigata, sampayutta, with wrong view, asankarika, right? Unprompted chitta. If we take that and then we apply it to the chitta viti, right? With the chitta viti. So obviously with the chitta, the bhavanga, with the chitta, the chetasikas are also present, right? With the chitta, the chetasikas are also present. So one chitta and the 18 chetasikas are present within that chitta. I'm just going to take this one. This is a bhavanga. This is a rebirth one, but never mind. Oh no, we can just go to a process here. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do this. Right. So this is the large chitta vichi, chakku vinyana, right? Now, bhavanga, the three bhavangas, let us say, bhavangas and the panchadvara vachana, the metana chakku vinyana, the akusala chitta would arise, right? Sampatichara, santirna, bottapana, javana, here, isn't it? Am I correct? Right. The javana. This is where the akusala chitta will arise. The pathway to which has been led. The pathway, then metana api eka apo apply karot, poddak hondata hitala. Okay. Right. So now bhavanga chitta, these three. Panchadvara vajana, chakku vinyana, sampatichana, santirana, vottapana, where the manodvara vajana, the right yonis mansikara, ayonis mansikara, okkoma, metana tiyenne. ඊට පස්සේ, owing to whatever conditions that are present within our being, whatever trainings that we've had, however and whatever sort of positions of mind we hold, the consciousness would arise, right? Which is the first consciousness together with its retinue of 18 Chetasika Dhammas, which will now work in understanding or working with that object. Then metana, a chitta sa Chetasika Dharma starts working with the object. Now the object has appeared. Now it is processing the object through the first chitta and the 18 Chetasikas, right? And that the final result of it, or the final energy of it, is goes through the Tadalambana process, the two Tadalambanas, right?
But the registration, Bhante, the two T's.
Yeah, registration, Tadalambana.
Why is it?
Tadalambana?
Yeah, I know. I thought it should be R for registration.
No, I think they are going on Pali. So Javana, Sampachana, Santina, they've gone on Palina, right? Now we're discussing mutuality condition. Anya Manya Pachaya. Anya Manya Pachaya is all about mutual support. So one, as we discussed, the first chitta, and the conditioned state could be the 18 Chetasikas and all of that, what we just discussed, right? So now, can we practically put that, or how can we practically understand the position or the process of it in mutuality condition? අපි කොහොමද ඒක විස්තර කරන්නේ? Mutuality. So during the Javana process, now I'm just discussing, so you guys can also sort of, say what you want to, right? So during the Javana process, we can take, of course, the Chitta and Chetasika, they are as mutuality condition, right? Mutuality condition. So then there is a clear mutuality condition there, isn't it? Right? So then we can take the Javana process, the 7 Javanas, when that Chitta arises, whatever Chitta that arises, what arises with it mutually supports itself to do what it does. Now we've taken the first Chitta and its 18 Chetasika counterparts, but with regards to, let us say, the Panchadwara Vajana, right? Panchadwara Vajana, how many Chetasika Dhammas arise with the Panchadwara Vajana, please? I feel like Noeline would know this.
Sorry, what's the question, Bhante?
Panchadwara Vajana, how many Chetasika Dhammas?
That's 5 door.
Adverting. Adverting. So waiting for the number. So then 5 door adverting, the Chittas and the Chetasika. So the Chitta, which is Panchadwara Vajana, and the respective Chetasika Dharmas, again, the Metana mutuality condition. Supporting each other during that moment to do what it does, to persist, to bring the energy that it does. Right? To bring the energy that it does. Do we have the number?
Bhante.
10.
Yeah.
Panchadwara Vajana 10.
7 universal, and then initial thought, sustain, and decision.
And Adhimukha. Okay.
Adhimukha, yeah.
And Adhimukha together with the 3 universals. Okay.
Yeah.
The 6 universals.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. 7 universals, sorry.
Yeah.
So that becomes mutual condition here. The Chakku Vinyana, the same. The Chakku Vinyana consciousness and their respective Chetasika counterparts become mutuality condition. Do you understand? Is that clear? Right? Is that clear, everyone? Right? That is how then mutuality condition at the moment of a VT running, that is how mutuality condition would then operate. If we are to then take Sahajata Pache is the same. However, in Sahajata Pache, we are talking about then Panchadwara Vajana Avasthavedi, during the moment of Panchadwara Vajana, the Chitta arises with the Chetasika Dhammas. That is what we focus on with regards to the Sahajata Pache. Is that clear? In mutuality condition, we talk about the reciprocal support that is present within those 2 Dhammas which arise together. Is that clear? Does that make sense? Any questions?
Yeah, it is reversible effects. So it's
The
a forward and backward effect, yeah,
forward and
and backward. In the Sahajata, you have only the forward. That means it's moving from one Dhamma to the other Dhamma, right? But in Anyamanya, it's reversible. So it goes from one to other and other to one.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that means, well, say it's exactly what you said, but in more technical terms, it's because in Sahajata, it's you have a very clear cut conditioning and conditioned. It's moving from conditioning to conditioned, right? But in Anyamanya, it's moving from conditioning to condition, and then that condition become conditioning and comes back.
Yeah. Yes. Well, the thing is, that is where I was thinking, Dhamsari, when you mentioned that comes back.
Yeah.
It's not comes back.
No, not it comes back actually. It's a effect. Yeah.
Yes.
Because your condition becomes conditioning.
Yes. Condition becomes conditioning.
Conditioning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Condition becomes
Conditioning. Yeah.
Condition becomes conditioning in a way. Then sort of, if we are to take, for example, the name of Hituot.
Yeah.
Now, for
Bhante, it's same time and in the same way, they say, no?
Same time in the
and
same
the same way.
Same way, yeah.
Right? Same time in the same way. Now, if we are to take, for example, within that first consciousness itself, if we are to take the Chetasika of Chanda again, for example, right? Or let us take Vitakka, right? Now, the consciousness conditions the arising of the 18 Chetasikas. On one side, the consciousness conditions the arising of the 18 Chetasikas on one side, right? Let me just. The consciousness conditions the arising of the 18 Chetasikas on one side. Chanda then becomes, or can become, or is in that same sector. Chanda is the conditioning state for the first Chitta and the 17 Chetasikas.
Yeah.
Right? Vitakka in the same sector is the conditioning state for one Chitta and the 17 Chetasikas. Right? Then etana uttara මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ? යම්කිසි විදියට ඡන්දය නැමැති චෛතසික ධර්ම යම්කිසි සාරයක් තියෙනවා නම් මෙම සාරය අර ධර්මයන්ට යම්කිසි විදියකට උපකාර වෙනවා. හෝ උපකාරයක් වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ, if we are to take, for example, let us take two fragrances, right? This fragrance being here, right, and the other fragrance being there. Now there are two fragrances in the room. Let us say a fragrance candle burning in the room. In the room, now that two fragrances are mixing with the air, you have a different fragrance now in the room, because two fragrances, isn't it? So with the condition and the conditioning, that is what happens. In the mutuality condition to create that unique signature with the Arammana, with what is taken, the object, the chitta, affects the Chaitanya dharmas, and each of the Chaitanya dharmas affects the chitta and the rest of the Chaitanya dharmas as well. Is that clear, everyone? Does that make sense? Yeah. So when we say in the book, what it mentioned was the giving of force, right? Chanda gives a unique force. What does that force do? That force is about Chanda. Vitakka gives a different force. What does that force do? That is Vitakka, right? If now these Chaitasika dharmas being there, we do not see this process. Now, if we are to take, for example, this process, Metana, now 18 Chaitasika dharmas, right? Are there 19 processes here? Are there 19 processes happening here? What we see here is one javana, right? What we see here is one javana. What is in or what is activated in this javana is the first chitta, and there are 18 Chaitasika dharmas. The 18 Chaitasika dharmas, through mutuality condition as they arise together, in being so or having those dharmas there, what happens? Gives a certain result. Then if we are to take this example, if we are to flash in this room, if we are to flash within the color, there are 7 colors, isn't it? 7 main colors, right? If we are to flash the 7 main colors together, the base color becomes white, isn't it? So if you flash 7 colors together, the base color is white, right? Do you understand what I'm trying to get at? Right? So in this 9th javana process, this javana here, and even in Vottapana or Sampatichana, Santirna, those dharmas with the chitta and the Chaitasika are like those flashed lights, right? And it is that light or that sort of energy which is then there, which completes the javana process, or the Vottapana process, or the Sampatichana, the Santirna process. Do you understand? Right? So this is not to say that metana Shaktinge homaruවක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ශක්ති වර්තමාන අවස්ථාවේ තියෙන ආකාරයෙන්ම අනිත් ඒත් එක්කම තිබෙන අනිත් ශක්තියට යම්කිසි එකේ effect එකක් තියෙනවා. There is an effect of it. Right? That is what we are viewing. We are not looking at this like a process. Right? When the energies arise, that energy arises in its arising energy, because it's sahajata, right? The processes can't be running. Processes can't be running. There can't be 18 processes running. Why? Chittaviti. Chittakshaneka me chittakshane thula. Uppada titi banga me avastave thula me siyallama vela ivar wenna ona. Right? So we can't talk, it takes away that idea that this is like a process sort of working. The energy being there, that signature consciousness is sort of that, like that white being built by the fact of 7 main colors being flashed. Isn't it? Does that make sense, everyone?
Yeah.
You have anything to say, Damsari?
Yeah, Bhante, it explains the word mutuality itself. Mutuality is, it's in Sinhala called Anyonya Upakarya.
Anyonya Upakarya.
Yeah, so that means in order to exist and in order to birth, they mutually help all these 18 Chaitasikas mutually help themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Not mutual help one, mutual help all 17.
Yes.
If you take one, all 17 helps to exist. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. All help to exist. What I wanted to specifically point out is now, අපි අන්‍යෝන්‍ය උපකාරය කියන වචනේ දැන් උපකාරය is a process, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But this is not like a process. What I mean by that, we might understand clearly, is the fact of this is not like a chitta process. Right? Meaning which takes like one mind moment, or you know what I mean? This is a Shakti. You know, it is like, if I might take a food example, right? You know, sometimes when we make curry, we put all the ingredients together and simply just boil the curry without doing the stir fries and all the other things. We just put all the ingredients, the curry leaves, you know, everything together with the coconut milk, and we sort of boil the curry, right? This is similar to that.
Yeah.
Right? This is similar to that, right? Where whatever which is the fact of it being present itself affects the whole curry, or the taste of the curry, the outcome of it. Is that clear, everyone? Right? So we must, although yes, it helps, the energy being there, that energy supports, not supports, but rather anyon upakara. It sort of affects, and yes, the energy exchange, there is an exchange of energy that happens between the chitta chaitasika dharmas.
Yeah.
Right? But it is not like a process which we would have here.
Yeah.
Right? Because some might assume, enang me javana process එක යටතේ enang anu processes 18ක් තියෙනවා කියලා හිතන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම processes 18ක් නැහැ.
Yeah. Bhante, in my books, it explains upakar vime shaktiya. Right? Anyona ba shaktiya.
Upakara vime shaktiya.
Anyona bhaveng upakar vime shaktiya. So exactly what you said, but it's the mutual helping, the energy associated with helping each other.
Yes.
If we say amalgamation, Bhante?
Sorry?
If we say amalgamation, what does it mean?
Amalgamation, well, with that, I was just thinking of this example. Let us say a seasoned choir of singers, right? A choir of singers that are in tune, in pitch, all of that, singing together. They are heard as one powerful voice, but coming from a whole group of people.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Right? It is something like that. Right? Now, a singer standing alone might not be able to be motivated or be inspired in a way to produce the same quality. However, when their peers are singing alongside, they adjust and tune themselves to reach that level to resonate through the choir, the whole choir. And that is what it is. Do you understand, everyone? So it is හිතන්න එපා මේක නිකන් අර ඡන්දය මොකක් හරි, you know, if it's like an arms bowl, you know, that chande is putting something into the bowl, that vitaka is putting something into the bowl. It is not like that. මේ ශක්තියින් හටගන්න හේතුවෙන්ම අන්‍යෝන්‍ය උපකාරයෙන් ඒ තියෙන ඒ effect එක වෙනස්. Do you understand? Is that clear, everyone?
Mutual help, you would say.
Right? Sorry?
I said mutual help, helping each other.
Yes, I mean, sure. Yes, mutual help. You know, there is a sure mutual help, a support that is present. Right? Is that clear? Right? Why we use the word help or support is the fact that, for example, if we are to take asankarika. Asankarika has, for the process or for the chitta to be asankarika, that is reflected upon the Chetasika dharmas that are present, which allows or further supports the chitta to be asankarika, isn't it? If the chitta is asankarika, there are Chetasika dharmas which are present, which further supports and reiterates on the fact of the sasankarika. Right? If the chitta is lobha based, then there are chetasikas that arise, tanha, that arise, reiterating the essence of the chitta. Right? That is where this word support comes in, or help comes in. Is that clear, everyone? Any questions?
Bhante, the difference between mutuality and connaissance is, right? They both arise together, but with mutuality, they exchange for mutual benefit.
Yes.
And for connaissance, there are no strings attached.
No strings attached. Okay, I get no strings attached, sure. No strings attached. Right? No strings attached in the sense of the only, yes, no strings attached, meaning there is no reciprocity.
No, there's no secondary help.
There is no secondary help.
Yeah,
They
that
arise
means
together.
yeah, arise. Yeah.
They arise together. Right? So in mutuality condition, this C, I'm sorry, in Conascence condition, right? 6C. Here, mind you, what did we say? We said 4 mental aggregates, heart base. Heart base, 4 mental aggregates, 2 processes, okay? Right? That has to be clear, or else that becomes mutuality. Right? Or else that becomes mutuality. It is not mutuality. Is that clear? Right? Now, yes, Damsiri.
Bhante, so that means if you take these 2 cases as a single case, then it's mutuality.
Yes, උතුර අන්‍යෝන්‍ය උපකාරයක් තියෙනවනේ එතන.
අන්‍යෝන්‍ය උපකාරයක් තියෙනවා. Right, right. Yeah, yeah.
අන්‍යෝන්‍ය උපකාරයක් තියෙනවා.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Now, mutuality. A, is that clear? During rebirth and existence. Right? During rebirth and existence. Right? Now, B, 4 great essentials and 4 great essentials. Right? Now, what can we do? I think we don't need a lot of explanation here to understand. Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo. Apo, Patavi, Tejo, Vayo. Tejo, Patavi, Apo, Vayo. Vayo, Patavi, Apo, Tejo. Is that clear?
Yeah. The main difference between A in mutuality and A in Conascence is there's Conascence materiality involved.
Okay.
Whereas in the mutuality, materiality is not involved.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because it's a nama dharma to nama dharma.
Yeah.
Right?
Nama.
Not, yeah.
Yes. And here, if going back to the first Dhamma pada.
Yeah.
Mano pubbhangama dhamma. Right? That is Mano just double checking. Mano pubbhangama.
Mano pubbhangama dhamma, mano setta, manomaya, mano.
Manasache padutten, right? Now, thank you. Now, when we come to the fact of now mutual conditioning, the mind, if matter was here, then we would face a contradiction to Manopubbhangama Dhamma.
Yes.
Right? which is to say that the mind is the forerunner in all cases. Always, right? Because then that would mean that physicality conditions mind, which does not happen. Mind conditions physicality.
Yeah.
Right? Mind conditions physicality. Right? Now, do we need to speak more about it? Is that clear, everyone? Right? What Dhamma mentioned, in Sahajata, we don't have the Conascence matter. Right? Now, if we just go up there again, we find both at rebirth and existence. Sorry. Both at rebirth and existence. Both at rebirth. Both at rebirth and existence. Both at rebirth, I'm very sorry. Both at rebirth and existence, 89 chittas, 52 chesikas, which support each other and Conascence matter. Right? In the Anyamanapaccha, we don't have Conascence matter.
Yeah.
Right? Why? Because Conascence matter does not condition mind.
Mind. Yeah.
Right? Anyonya upakaraya kitna nahi.
Yeah.
Is that clear? Then can I also ask you to contradict that and ask, how can we contradict that? Maybe then we can learn a bit deeper. What about any examples that you can think of that contradicts that statement?
This is deep enough, Bhante.
This is deep.
Yeah.
Anyways, we are going to come to it in C. That is what contradicts that statement. And we will see how, right? So now, 4 great essentials, is that clear, everyone? Right? Mutuality condition, right? Now, if we are to draw mutuality condition, it is usually drawn A, B, and C. C supports A supports C, A supports B, B supports A, C supports B supports C, C supports B, and then A, B, C support each other as well, right? Everything supports each other, right? That is what is to be understood. Okay. Now, can we come to 7C? If everyone is clear on 4 great essentials and how it becomes mutuality condition, with all, I think, with all the element meditation, I think we've kind of sort of talked about it a lot, isn't it? Right? So that is there. Then etana balanna, to be able to sort of see Vartamana Motaka to see the Patavi Apo Tejo Vayu and how it works together. That is being able to also, then you can now apply mutuality condition also there. That is Anyamanapaccha. Anyonya upakarayen dhatu pavatina ආකාරය තමයි උතුම් ධාතු මනස්කාරයෙන් අපි බලන්නේ. Right. Now 6C. Now 7C, same as 6C, that is Sahajata C, which is this one here. At rebirth in the Panchavokara Bhumi, 4 mental aggregates and heart base. Now, this is where you have to think.
Yeah.
Right? This is where a little bit of the contradiction comes in.
Yeah.
A little bit of the contradiction comes in here. Right? How? Then Balanna, we spoke about, in this process here, we spoke of it as 2 processes. Right? 4 mental aggregates and heart base. Heart base supported by mental aggregates supported by heart base. There is this sort of symbol here you see to separate it, right? Now in mutuality condition, we have, what is mutuality condition there, right? Before we go into that, 6C, the physical heart base or founded or supported by this heart base, consciousness arises. Sirs, right? Consciousness arises. The mental aggregates, because the mental aggregates, right? Heart base supported by mental aggregates. That is, no, what we just mentioned, the mental aggregates supported by heart base. ඒ කියන්නේ මනස චිත්තයක් හෘද වස්තුව පදනම් කරගෙන හට ගන්නවා. Is that clear? Right? A consciousness arises based off or supported by the heart base. Now, what's the other one? The heart base supported by mental aggregates. What is this? What do you think this is? The heart base supported by mental aggregates. What is that? Any idea?
Providing, is it providing seed for the mental and aggregates? The heart base is providing a seed for the mental aggregates.
Heart base
is providing
a seed.
So that means it's, I think, later stage, probably we might go to Upanishaya Pachya also says that, or Nishraya probably.
Isn't what you just said mental aggregate supporting the heart base?
No. I said heart base providing.
Okay.
Heart base providing what is not heart base providing a location, or what's the word I use?
Seed. You use
seed. Yeah. Heart base providing seed for the mental aggregate.
Heart base
providing a seed for the mental aggregates.
So
because
Dhamma, isn't that mental aggregate supported by heart base?
It's same thing. Yes. Yeah.
Ne?
Yeah.
Ne. අපිට ඒක නෙමෙයි ඕනේ. දැන් ඒක හරි.
Yeah.
අනිත් එකට ඕන. This one.
A heart base supported by mental aggregates.
This is mental aggregate supported by
the heart base. Yes, that's the one. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
No.
That this one is
heart base supported by mental aggregates. The මෙතන heart base එක රූපස්කන්ධද නාමස්කන්ධද?
රූපස්කන්ධ.
රූපස්කන්ධ. So මේ රූපස්කන්ධය, how is this rupa supported by the mental aggregates?
This is the exceptional case during the pratisandhi stage, right? And because normally you won't have that one, because as we discussed previously, normally you don't have, but especially during pratisandhi stage, rebirth linking stage, we have, because the consciousness is coming as a resultant, so it has to come first.
The consciousness is coming as a resultant. Heart base supported by mental aggregates.
Yeah. So vipaka chitta. So because it's vipaka chitta, and So we had to have some sort of some sort of facilities to generate hard base.
Yes, you're correct.
Huh?
Yeah. So this is not at life or during life. This is at rebirth.
Yes.
Right. This is at rebirth. Then at the Sahajata moment, we spoke about this process as two processes because of the lack of reciprocity in Sahajata.
Yeah.
In mutuality condition, everyone, we talk about this as a mutual cause and condition, right?
Yeah.
Which is the factor now, which is the factor when that cellular molecular structure is present, right? The consciousness arises based on a particular part of its physicality. That physicality then becomes the heart base. For it offers a seat for the mind to arise. A seat for the mind to arise. The seat of mind, it is in certain places translated as the Hade Vastu.
Yeah.
Right? That seat of mind, the Hade Vastu at that moment is supported by, at the time of rebirth, that Patisandhi process.
Yeah.
That Patisandhi process.
Yeah.
Here. Right? The first Viti.
Yeah.
During this first Viti, see, the heart base is Kammaja Rupa.
Yeah.
And here you find Kammaja Rupa.
Yeah.
The Chittaja Rupa, now we are talking about what is mutuality condition. Support. Support. Do you understand? It is that mutual anyonya upakareng, mutual support. What is Chittaja Rupa now offering? With the Chittaja Rupa comes that whole continuation energy. Right? Continuation energy. ඒ කියන්නේ යම්කිසි සත්වෙක් හැමදාම තමන්ට තියෙන කර්ම වලින්ම ජීවත් වෙන්න බැහැනේ. මේ වර්තමාන මොහොතේ කර්ම අපි ඇති කරා ගන්න ඕන. ඇති වෙනවා. හට ගන්නවා. Right? හට ගන්නවා. And that process happens in all planes except the Asanna Satta, which is an anomaly. Right? Except in the Asanna Satta plane, because it's an anomaly. But mind you, Asanna Satta plane does not have Sanya. If there is no Sanya, there is no Vedana, there is no consciousness. Right? The trio is not there. The trio not there, there is simply no mind. Right? Simply no mind. Chittaja Rupa here now supports the heart base. The heart base supports the Chittaja Rupa. Is that clear, everyone? ඒ දෙන්න අතර තියෙන ඒ අන්‍යෝන්‍ය උපකාරය පදනම් කරගෙන හටගන්න ඒ ධර්මයන්ට තමයි එතන අන්‍යමඤ්ඤ පක්ෂය කියන්නේ. Is that clear? Does that make sense? I feel like it doesn't make sense. No? Are you confused? Yes? Hemali? Noili? Yes? Confused?
Yes, Bhante, can you please explain with an nice.
Okay, so here, then, okay, the first part is Sahajata. In Sahajata, We are talking about at the process, at the time of rebirth, the heart base arises together with the mind, together with the mental aggregates. It doesn't say Chiddata Rupa, it doesn't say Kammaja Rupa, it says mental aggregates. Is that clear? Right? Then me process occur, mental process. This is a mental process. This is the rebirth process here. Arising of mind and matter in the new life. See? Right? Now, during this process, Kammaja Rupa, this Kammaja Rupa is the heart base. Right? Is the heart base. So this is a mind mental process. Right? This is a mind mental process. So at rebirth in the 5 aggregate plane, the 4 aggregates support the heart base. The heart base support the mental aggregates. Is that clear? Right? Now Kammaja Rupa and Chittaja Rupa. Kammaja Rupa at the time of rebirth, Chittaja Rupa at the time of Kammaja Rupa at the time of rebirth, Chittaja Rupa at the time of life. Right? At the time of life. Now here we are talking about, here it's Kammaja Rupa. Why? Heart base supported by mental aggregates. Right? Where, how did that Kammaja Rupa arise? Then balanna metana. This Kammaja Rupa arises because of this Patisandha Chitta here. This Patisandha Chitta is a Vipaka Chitta. Is that clear, everyone? Does that make sense? Right? Now, in Annemanne Pachaya, api kata karanne, this Patisandhi process supports the arising of the Kammaja Rupa, which is the heart base. This Kammaja Rupa, then heart base එක නැතුව තව සිත් හට ගන්නත් බෑනේ. Without the heart base, මමත්වය කියන දේ කොහොමද පදනම් වෙන්නේ? සක සංඥාව හටගන්නේ මේ කර්මජ රූපයන්ගෙන් හටගත්තේ මේ හෘද වස්තුව හේතුවෙන්. හෘද වස්තුනේ හදේ වස්තුව. හෘද වස්තුව. හදේ වස්තුව හේතුවෙන්. Right? Not hෘද වස්තුව, you might think it's a heart, isn't it? Right? Hade vastu hetuen. Is that clear, everyone? I'll repeat in English for those of you. Here, the Patisandhi Chitta, which is a Vipaka Chitta, conditions or supports the rising of the Kammaja Rupa. The Kammaja Rupa, right? The Kammaja Rupa supports the persistence of the Chitta. Because mind, at that point, we know Chakku Tinavada Nai. Chakku is not there. Sota, Gana, Jivha, Kaya, Naha. Mukhada tini mano vitarai. I'm sorry. Kaya tino. Right? Kaya is present. However, can we say Damsari Kaya tino?
Heart, body, and the sexes. One thing.
Heart, body. Yes. Okay. Kaya das okay. Right. So heart, body, and the sexes. So Kaya is present, but heart. Now, Kaya, in Kaya Dasaka, the Pottabha is weak because that sensation is not there. Right? So then it will come down to Hadaya. Right? So the mind persist without the Hadaya? No. Now you see, the Kammaja Rupa, which is the Hadaya Vastu, supporting the continuation of consciousness. Do you understand? Is that clear now, everyone? That is how it becomes Anyamanya Pache. Yeah? That is how it becomes Anyamanya Pache. Yes, Damsari. Or did you want to say something? No. Okay. All right. Is that clear now? Right. Any sort of Noeli, is it clear?
Yes, Bhante. Thank you.
Good. Can we move on, or do we have any other questions? Devika, what's the issue?
Bhante, when you were explaining earlier, I got it and I wrote it down. But then second time now, just now when you were explaining again, I got confused.
What
I
did
know.
you get confused on?
I wrote it down here also, like in my book. Like in C, in mutuality, when it says it supports the section of mind supports the seat of mind at rebirth. You know?
Okay. Supports the seat of mind at rebirth.
At rebirth.
Okay.
That's the conditioned state for Anyamanya Pratyaya. Under conditioned states, that's what happens. Oh, now.
Okay, so let me just brush through it, right?
Thank you.
In Anyamanya Pachaya, again we see what we go through or what we can see is there is a mutuality support which is present. That mutuality support, the mind, because of the Patisandhi Chitta, arises, the Kammaja Rupa and the Hadevastu is a Kammaja Rupa. Right? This Kammaja, so that happens. When the Kammaja Rupa, which is a Hadevastu, arises, this Hadevastu, which is a seed of mind, allows the continuation of the further persistence of the mind. Right? There now we find Patisandhi Chitta supporting the Hadevastu, Hadevastu supporting the Chitta. Is that clear? That is the Anyamanya Pachaya there. Right? Because the mind needs the Hadevastu or the Hadevastu to arise. Right? Although the Kaya Dasaka is there, although Kaya Dasaka, Kaya is there, Kaya is in a very weak position. It's in a very weak position. Right? Very weak position. Hence, what will gain predominance or what will ensure the continuation of the mind is here the Hadevastu. Is that clear, everyone? Right? Mukada, here now, because with the Kammaja Rupas, we have Hadaya, Bhavadasaka, and the Kaya Dasaka. The Bhavadasaka and the Kaya Dasaka are more Lakkana characteristics at this point. The Hadevastu is more the active force at this point in time. Do you understand? ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ස්ත්‍රියක් ගත්තොත් ඒ ස්ත්‍රී අංග මොනවත් මෙතන නැහැ. Right? කලාපයක් වශයෙන් විතරයි අපි අර ස්ත්‍රී හෝ පුරුෂ ඒ දශකයේ ගැන අපි කතා කරන්නේ. ඒ පාත් එකේ තියෙනවා. It is like, for example, we have a plan to develop this property into a 3-story building. Right? But it's not a 3-story building now. Do you understand? Right? What we have now or what is workable now is predominantly the Hadevastu, which supports the mind. Do you understand? Is that clear?
It's the foundation then.
The foundation, exactly. Foundation, and also the maker every moment with the arising and the passing away of chittas, chetasikas, and the arising and there is also arising and passing away of rupa skandha. Right? Then me hataganna rupa yamkisi sadacharaatmakawa hataganna pe. You know, nikan ඒ සදාචාරාත්මක ගතිය ගේන්නේ දැන් මේ ස්ත්‍රී දශකේ නැත්නම් පුරුෂ දශකේ ඒ ගතිවලින්. it's the discipline. It's basically the discipline of that composition of mind and matter. You know, a person who is born as a man will not sort of grow as a dog or any other animal. Right?
What do you mean? You will not be born as an animal?
No. A man who is born as a dog will not develop as an animal, no?
Oh, that's true.
Right? But you can be born with birth defect because of, and we see this usually in incestuous environments and, you know, those kind of environments, we see such things happening. But if we are taking a very simple example, a person who is born and is developing as a man or a woman will sort of have the physical attributes of a man or a woman. But every moment, the different kalapas that arise will then arise within the path of being a man or a woman. Right? And that is what this is about here. Metana, our karmaja rupa, the karmaja rupa is the hadevastu. The hadevastu, the patisandhichitta, the P here, right? The P here supports the arising of the hadevastu. The hadevastu coming into being supports the persistence of the consciousness. Right? Then metana, now we can also, the hadevastu does one point that we've already spoken about, but I'm just going to bring it to life. If we are to what is the term that we can use? Ekyanne අපේ යම්කිසි සංසාරගත කර්ම ටිකක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒ කර්ම පදක නම් කරාගෙන තමයි අපි මේ මොහොතේ ප්‍රතිසන්දියක් ලබන්නේ. දැන් මේ කර්ම ටික කර්ම චිත්ත අනුසය කර්ම චිත්ත අනුසය යම් තැනක, what is it called when you hold, what's the word, Damsiri, when you say you hold the broom on top and then how do you, I haven't swept in a long time, how do you sweep? Oh, this is the part, isn't it? And you sweep with the, what is this position called? I can't hear you.
That's the upper
In the fulcrum.
The fulcrum. This is where.
Yeah, you move. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So this is the main point, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Upper hand. So
yeah.
this is what the hadevastu is at that point.
Yeah.
Do you understand, everyone? ඒ කියන්නේ broom එක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම control වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ පළවෙනි අතෙන් මේ උඩ තැනින්, right? Now අපේ කර්ම චිත්ත, දැන් මගේ කර්මය ගිහිල්ලා වෙන මිනිස්සෙක්ට right? ඒ සියල්ලම දැන් මේ එක්තැන් නෙමෙයි, this fulcrum that we say, you know, like the pivot point.
Pivot point, yes.
The pivot point. It's called pivot point. That's like the word they teach in physics, isn't it?
Yeah. Pivot. Fulcrum is also used.
Fulcrum. Okay.
Yeah.
Fulcrum or the pivot point becomes now the hadevastu. Me hadevastu padanam karagana thamai මනස හටගන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ අපේ කර්මජ ඒ සියල්ල ඒ සංසාරගත මේ සංසාරේ ඉන්න අර තණ්හාව අවිද්‍යාව නැමැති ශක්ති සියල්ලම දැන් හටගන්නේ මෙන්න මේ හදේවස්තු පදනම් කරාගෙන. දැන් මෙතන ලොකු ශක්තියක් නැහැ. But this karma rupa, it becomes now the pivot point.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And that is how it's supposed the continuation of mind. Exactly, everyone.
Bhante, in addition to that, because some time ago we discussed this, during the rebirth linking chitta, at the stage of utpada, we get this karmaja rupa. Yes. No, at the stage of the upada, you get the hadaya dasaka.
Yeah.
Vastu dasaka. So that actually practically you simultaneously as utpada of the pratisandhi chitta practically it's a very fraction of a millisecond. After that, you have Hadaya Vastu or Vastu Dasakya.
Yes.
That's explained somewhere in the previous lessons, actually. So because it's the strongest point, so that actually helped to create Hadaya Dasakya, Vastu Dasakya.
මේ අවස්ථාවේ මේකට කියන්නේ කලලය කියලාද? What do you call it at this moment?
Mala, it's not color layer. It's the immediately after fertilization.
It's a cell.
Zygote.
The zygote.
Because it's a unicellular Bhante, but it has got the complete chromosomes. That means you have identification whether it's a male or a female.
Okay.
And all your characteristics, physical characteristics, are embedded in that chromosome.
Yeah.
It's a zygote that changes into ovum.
Okay. The zygote changes.
No, sorry. Zygote that gives to what's the other word?
Bhante, when the ovum unites with the sperm, you get the zygote.
Then
zygote has got all the chromosomes.
Okay. Then so it is the sperm entering of the egg, the fertilizer, then the ovum and the sperm coming together, and then we have the fertilizer, and that sort of signifies the completion of the fertilization process.
Yeah.
Right. The completion of the fertilization. And how long would that take? Do we know?
Yeah. Bhante, there's an article I can send you that one later.
Okay.
And the duration is compared with Buddhist theory.
Okay.
And somebody has written a paper on this, and the Buddhist theory very much coincide with the modern embryology theory. And I think according to that paper, we are talking about fertilization takes place within 24 hours or 48 hours.
So
and
the two cell stage, apparently from the zygote to the 2 cell stage, that is the ovum, and is 36 hours.
Yeah.
Then there is a 4 cell stage, which is 48 hours.
Yes.
8 cell stage, 60 hours, and 16 to 36 cells, 72 hours.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. And then in 4 to 5 days is the cell division and formulation of inner cell mass, and implantation 8 to 14 days. Right. 8 to 14 days. That is 2 weeks.
Yeah. So that means it differentiates cells for nerve cells and skeletal cells and various things after 36 or 48 hours. And in Buddhist philosophy, I think there's a sutra in this one actually. According to Sutra Pitaka, there's a Kalala Sutra or something like that. And that gives you the same story and similar sort of structure.
The thing now, as I remember, the position that we are talking about, the Karanya Rupa here, then would be after the blastocyst process. So in all this process, even foregoing like the 32 cell stage, it will be all the way after that.
Yeah, because Bhante, I think if you see the most scientific way,
Okay.
the Pratisandhi comes with the first union of sperm and ovum. That means once it's complete the single chromosome, because 2 half chromosomes and then join during the fertilization into single chromosome. That chromosomes give the right type of characteristic for the person to develop, and including the sex. So that means we are talking about the Pratisandhi is happening there because it's a new life, independent live life.
So just because the sex would have been determined physically there, Dhamsiri, why would you think that it needs to equate to the present process which we are referring to here?
No, because that cell is different from the mother cell.
Okay.
That cell exists on its own with nutrition coming from the mother only. Nutrition coming from the mother. So the fertilized zygote is actually separate identity. And it develops its own characteristics, the structure on its own. No, because Bhante, because Rupa Niyama, yes, it is true. But that's the Kaya Dasakaya. So once you have the fertilization, it's the Kaya Dasakaya now. And Kaya Dasakaya then give rise to various different cells, which will ultimately evolve into Chakku Dasakaya, Sota Dasakaya, and all the other 9 clusters.
Then what time does a person go and implants there then? Like we say when we die, we go and
because
do you get Pratisandhi?
No, because it's a controversial issue, but with my scientific knowledge, I have a strong belief that actually it happens with the fertilization.
The being who is going to be born in that womb happens that time.
Yeah, that's the beginning of the being, like amoeba. It's a unicellular being.
Yes.
Right? Living in mother's womb.
Yes.
Right? But then gradually that unicellular amoeba is gradually becoming multicellular. And then actually in reality, most of the doctors will agree that in reality it goes through the physical evolution. First you will look like a worm.
No, that I understand.
And so it's developed on its own.
Correct.
Without mother's involvement.
Yes.
Mother gives only the food.
Yes, I understand all that. My argument is this. So at one point, do we go and get implanted there, the individual, not at the time of, that's the thing. What
Bhante, from what I have read in the Buddhist books, once the union occurs between the sperm and the ovum, it will sort of, it will be there. But unless the Patisandhi Chitta comes, that zygote doesn't survive. That's the Buddhism. That's what Buddhism says.
Correct.
But I have read a lot of stories about, a lot of books of Ian Stevenson. it says past like regression. The little boy says he can remember his past birth, and he says, describes how he died. And he says, well, after he died, he was in between state, and he saw a mother and who was pregnant. And then he said he liked that mother, and he said he got into a mother's womb. This is past life regression by Ian Stevenson. So a lot of people, even Buddhist priests, have regressed, and they have said there's about an in-between state. The person dies and floats around, and then he sees a mother who's sort of sometimes even 1 month pregnant, and he likes that female, and he gets implanted into a womb. That's what even the Buddhist priests have found out from the thing. But in Buddhist books, what I have read is, once the union occurs between the sperm and the ovum, it can't survive unless a Patisandhi Chitta comes.
Devika, we can't hear you.
No.
I switched off because until Mala finished her explanation. So I agree with what Mala says, because, ovum appears every month in a mother, and it goes away if there is no union, and if a Patisandhi Chitta doesn't come in, so that goes away. So that's why I asked, the Patisandhi Chitta should come when the mother starts, the egg starts multiplying, and then some person looking for a place to survive in the next birth, then that person comes to the womb, the choice, depending on their karma. So that's what I feel.
Because what Mala says is, again, there's a possibility of zygote after union of sperm and ovum.
Yes.
The zygote can be destroyed or
Correct.
dissolved if you don't have the Patisandhi process.
Correct.
So that means, So that means, I have a strong feel. I'm almost 90%, 95% confidence that it happens during the fertilization or immediately after fertilization, before cell division starts.
Yes,
because
if a person has been going around looking for a place to be reborn, yes, that can, at that time too.
But Stevenson's explanation is little confusion because you can't develop empty cavity.
No.
Yeah, empty cavity for 6 months or 5 months in womb, mother's womb, until Patisandhi comes and take over. That's highly unlikely. Because you have to have you have to have a life in it, independent life in it. Because all the cell divisions will be controlled by this individual, not by mother.
Yes, but also depending on that person, that individual who comes in, depending on that person's karma, the mother can miscarry too, without waiting for the full term of the baby. So it's all karmic things.
Bhante, I agree with, I'm sorry to say, but I agree with the scientific evidence that Ian Stevenson gives. Because if I die following an accident, immediately I can't find a mother suitable for me. It's not tuk. I have to find a suitable country. I have to find a suitable mother according to my karma. So it's not, I don't believe it happens immediately. That's why I believe in Antarbhava. So I choose the right place the right parents, right family, right country, everything. So
The-
immediately I can't join somebody's dichot when I die.
That's true.
Well,
I agree with Mala.
I agree. This has turned into a class of Buddhas or what?
No, the universe is so wide.
No, the thing
Universe
is,
is so vast,
and
you don't have any problem in selecting place.
the thing is, in the Buddha Vishaya itself, it talks about the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, specific ability, an ability only available to the Bodhisattvas because of the high level of awareness and samadhi to be able to choose the right country, the right mother, the right nation, the right retinue, and all of that. Right? Attatama eka buddhu only a bodhisattva who is going to turn or become the Buddha in the next birth, it says, has that ability. Also, we find a place. Now, api okkoma balala uppattiyak labanawa nan enang anatapindika pimurek wenne naha. Pimurek ne dune. Pimurek, right? Pimurek wenne naha. Anatapindika.
It was Asoka who became a Pimbura.
Yes. Yes. What did Asoka became a Pimbura? What did Anatapindika become? He became a Deva. It was Asoka. Asoka, during the last period of his life, committed his whole life into sort of Buddhism and his, all his wealth and all of that. And, he became this sort of Python, if that is the translation of Pimbura. Now, we do not gain a rebirth after full quantitative analysis of what we deserve. We gain rebirth after or when the energy that we pass matches to a specific place, and within this samsara, it will match. Right? It will match. Because we have that much of, ekane me laukika dharma gattama, me laukika loke gattama, me laukika loke අපි හිතන්න බැරි, ඒ කියන්නේ හිතන්නේ නැති මට්ටම් වල හිතන මිනිස්සු ඉන්නවා. From the lowest of the low to the highest of the high. මේ ලෝකේ අපිට හොයාගන්න අමාරු මිනිස්සු වෙන්නේ මේ ලෝක ධර්ම අභිබවා කටයුතු කරන මිනිස්සු තමයි අමාරු අපිට හොයාගන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ මම කියන්නේ මේ මාර්ගඵලලාභී පුද්ගලයෝ. Right? මාර්ගඵලලාභී පුද්ගලයෝ තමයි අපිට හොයාගන්න අමාරු. Right? Now, for example, let us say there is a mother, she is sotapanna. එවැනි මේ කාලේදී එවැනි අම්මා කෙනෙක්ගේ කුසයක උප්පත්තියක් ලබන්නේ බොහෝ වෙලාවකට දෙවියෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. බ්‍රහ්මෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? ඒ කියන්නේ නිවන්ගාමී ප්‍රතිපදාවේ කටයුතු කරන දෙවියෙක් හෝ බ්‍රහ්මෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නැත්තම් හොඳට උත්කෘෂ්ඨ මට්ටමින් නිවන් මාර්ගයේ ජීවත් වන මිනිසෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Do you get what I mean? ඒ කියන්නේ those are the rare persons, but for every other condition from low dosa moha, there will be someone where we can sort of, but the thing is, it is not in Buddhism, it has never been related as a process or a quantitative decision. It is more like a magnetic pull rather than a quantitative decision that has been described. Which is not to say that I am going ahead with Dhamsiri's point, by the way. But let us be in a state of limbo for now, I think. All the Dhamsiri is 95% sure.
Bhante, I used the wrong word, choose, but it's not choose. It's a karmic attraction. Yeah, it's a karmic attraction. I can't choose. I can't be born to a royal family and thing. But according to my karma, I'll be attracted to the suitable parents.
Yes, the mind will arise in a suitable place.
Yes, it's always in accordance with the karma. We get you can be doing lots of merits and stuff, but at the last moment, when you're dying, if you get a chuti chitta of some other karmic thing, you go into a bad place. You can do so much of good, but it's at the last moment of your death, whatever that comes, you know, your good deeds, and then you get to a good place. That's how I feel. It's always owing to karma.
Also, the other thing is, a child may have, for example, a being might have the karma to be born in a wealthy environment, let us say, because it ensures comfort. However, the child's energy might be weak, and the parents at a power of wealth might be affected by a karma, and then that might sort of dissipate before the birth of the baby as well. That is also possible, right? That is also possible. So all of these things that, you know, we will, you know, I think gradually talk and go into it. But I think Dhamma, I'm going to keep your point in mind and ask around, okay? Because it does make sense, because it does make sense to a certain extent, which Dhamma says, okay, if the sex is determined, if the Bhavadasaka is present and the Kaya Dasaka is present, you know, and if this is, it has a sense of, because I remember learning from my teachers in Burma where they said that sex would be determined after the Patisandhi, owing to the karma, right? Owing to the karma. So, owing to the karma. So what Dhamma says, of course, has certain grounding in Dhamma as well. But of course, I think what we are not used to hearing is the fact that the Patisandhi happened so early on is what we are not used to hearing, because we are often used to hearing 4 weeks onwards, as I remember. 4 to 6 weeks, if I remember correctly, 4 to 6 weeks, that is what we are used to hearing. Right. So, but what Dhamma says, according to what we are studying right now, there is a bearing of Dhamma. So I will keep that in mind and ask around and see what the other Theros also think Dhamma. Yeah. Okay. All right, everyone. I will see you all tomorrow for the meditation in the morning. Take care and Theron Sannai.
Thank you, Bhante.
Theron Sannai.